What's going on, family? This is Rafael from Planet Seed YouTube channel. I hope you're all having a blessed day. So for today's video, I'm going to share with you guys my testimony. So, how God healed me for a terrible disease into my right knee. The conclusions of the doctor, they thought it was a Ewing Sarcoma, which it is a cancer around, the tissues of, of the bones. So in this situation, the bones of my knee. And if it wasn't to my mom's prayer, probably I would be without leg today. So I'm very thankful for it. So finally, here it comes the time to share my testimony. So if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe our channel, and give us a comment in the section below. Don't forget also to check our website. I'm planning a lot. I'm posting a lot of new articles there. So I'm updating the website constantly with new articles, and God will speak with you through it. So now let's get started. Open our Bibles in Mark chapter 9. We're gonna read a couple of verses here. Verse 16. Let's start. Let's get into it. And he asked them, Jesus, asking to the crowd, "What are you arguing about within the disciples?" And someone from the crowd answered, "Teacher, I brought my son to you, for he has a spirit that makes him mute. And whenever it sees him, it throws him down, and he foams and grinds his teeth and becomes rigid. So we asked your disciples to cast it out, and they were not able." And he answered them, "O faithless generation, how long am I to be with you? How long am I to bear with you? Bring him to me." And they brought a boy to him. And when the spirit saw him, immediately convulsed the boy, and he fell on the ground and rolled about, foaming in the mouth. And Jesus asked his father, How long this been happening to him?" And he said, "From childhood, and has often cast him out into fire and into water to destroy him. But if you can do anything, have compassion on us and help us." And Jesus said to him, "If you can, all things are possible to those who believes." So this is the story. So I'm gonna use this Bible verse, this Bible history, because this man, the father had to have faith to his children to be, so the demon could be casted out. So in despair, even though he didn't have assurance that Jesus was a Messiah or a healer or stuff like that, but he said, "If you can do something, have mercy on us." And Jesus replies, "If I can do something, all things are possible to those who believe." So now let's get into the story, and I've tried to create a parallel between this Bible history and my situation. Because in my situation, my mom was the one who was praying all the time so that I could be healed. Back in those days, my relationship with God was just, praying to God so that I could have a better sleep, this kind of stuff. Even though, of course, I prayed so that God healed me, but my mom prayed a lot more than me. So now, the history was I was going to school one day, and I suddenly start feeling pain into my right knee. I don't know how to describe, but it was a pain inside of my knee. And one day I was going to the church. I didn't tell nothing to my mom. At least I don't remember. But one day I went to the church with my brother, my older brother, and I started feeling terrible pain. We was walking by the streets because the church was like 20 minutes of our house. So I went there to the church, we went to the service, and later on, we just got back home. And the same thing. But when I came at home, I was feeling terrible pain. And I just tell to my mother, to my father, and they just take a look at, and it was completely swollen my knee. And they get preoccupied, of course. They get worried about it, and we went to the doctor the next day, and we went to the orthopedics, and he told to my father, "Oh, look, probably it is a cancer because Ewing sarcoma it's very common around people with 20, 12, 20, 12, 13, and my recommendation is that you go to the cancer hospital, also known as Inca here in Rio de Janeiro. I have some kind of exams here so that you can look that I'm not lying. These days on the internet, I don't know if you guys can see, but it's Inca means uh, Hospital of Cancer, the National Institute of Cancer here in Rio, and you know we had to go there, and a lot of exams, image exams. They find a little mass here in my right knee. So it was 15 centimeters, I would say. I still remember 15 centimeters. Yeah, I believe it's this, and it is what it is, man. So they thought, man, probably this is a cancer, but they wanted to know if it was a good one or a bad one. So to be considered cancer, it has to be evil one. So we had to had this exam called biopsy. This procedure, which is they collect a piece of the tissue so that they can see if it is a cancer or not. So okay, I have to be hospitalized and stuff like that, and I just had this procedure, and then I wake up of the procedure. But here the crazy part of the story begins, because once I woke up, I felt that the tissue of my knee, I mean the tissue, this right here, the tissue of my knee was like weaker. So when I look at my knee, once of course, I I don't know, a day later, I felt a little pain into my knee, a different kind of pain. It wasn't like a pain of you know, in the muscle, stuff like that. It was like a pain as I had a wound or a bruise. Not a bruise, I would say a wound into my knee, even though I had nothing. And I was like, man, what is this pain? So, it was just a little bit. But once they just let me see my knee, when I could see, I start, you know, I thought, man, this is awkward. I can see the flesh of my knee here is a little bit thin, you know. Then, okay, I just ignore it. But then, on the next, I would say would on the next day this happened. I wasn't to my grandma's house, and then when I was there, I start feeling terrible pain to my knee. This different one, such as I had a a wound into my knee, which I hadn't. It wasn't just. It was just swollen. And then when I take a look to my knee, there was this terrible, terrible, terrible wound. So it was just like a ball of this height, I would say, this height, and it was crazy, man, because once we look at it, it was just like a lot of fluids, and it was, bro, it was just so ugly. My mom couldn't handle it. She couldn't look at it. But I just get back to the hospital. So we get back to the hospital and Inca, the National Cancer Hospital, and then the probably the worst part of that moment, I still remember just like it was yesterday. Once we got to the hospital and the nurse looked at to my knee and saw that, they already knew what they had to do. So they just picked up a small sponge of this height, I would say, and they put me into this bed and they start scratching. They start cleaning the wound, and a lot of fluids came out of with blood and stuff like that. And my mom couldn't handle it, so my mom couldn't watch that because I was screaming so loud. So my that was the probably the worst situation that ever happened. Um, to my mom, I would say the most terrifying, I would say. So then what happened next was there was this big wound here into my knee. So if you see here, just so you guys can understand, this is the first one. So first, what happened was this first wound showed up, and then we start taking medicine. A lot of exams and nothing. They just didn't discover nothing. And then 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I don't remember, has passed. And then a second one appears into my flesh. So what happened next? The same thing. Every single day we went to the hospital. Every time they take the blood test, this kind of stuff, blood exams, a lot of exams. I don't remember all of them. But what happened was they didn't discover nothing. They didn't find nothing. Sorry. So the next part is that the wound, it was like, I don't know if in English they say live flesh. No, I don't believe it is the best, I don't know, the best word. So, but the flesh wasn't you know I couldn't feel the pain anymore. So similar what happened with lepers, for instance. You touch their wounds, they don't feel the pain. So it was just like that. And the last part was, I still remember one day we just get back there to to another orthopedic to another orthopedian. Actually, at this time we are already on into, which it is another hospital. I believe that you guys cannot see, but you know, here it is. Sarcoma of William. Sarcoma, sarcoma of William. I forgot that in English it is different. It is Ewing sarcoma. Sarcoma. So Ewing sarcoma. So then what happened was one day we was in the doctor and he just picked up a small object just like this, such like a, I don't know, a grapper. I don't know what they call it. A pencil. No, not a pencil. So a stuff that he could collect the something inside of my wound. So the crazy part was he came and he just picked up something from inside of my leg. And the crazy part here, I couldn't feel the pain. So, I was just like agonizing because it's awkward. But then he picks up a small piece of bone, and it was like yellow, just like with pus. So I saw his face of worry. So Ewing sarcoma, it is a cancer that is around the bones. So I really believe that he thought it was for real Ewing sarcoma. So what they came to my mom and said. So then they came to my mom and said, even secretly, my mom told me this, just later on when I was already an adult. And they said to her, probably, did you already told your son that he will be without his leg? He will lose his leg? And my mom said, why would I say that if you didn't discover nothing? And my mom was praying all the time at home because it's crazy. Imagine in your situation, you have a child that has this terrible, he's living this terrible situation and you can do nothing about it but pray, because the doctors can find out what it is, and if you don't pray, your child can lost his leg. And I always enjoyed playing football, and I'm a guitar player, so I always imagine what would happen if I have lost my leg back on those days. My life would be extremely different from what it is today, and probably I wouldn't be a guitar player. I don't know what would happen, but you know, the last part here is that later on, they said to my mom, can you give us the opportunity to do another biopsy so we can open your child's leg and see if we can find something there? Because the biopsy that they did here in my leg, it was with the needles and not with the opened up and stuff like that. But once they didn't find nothing, they decided to do this way. But my mom didn't let them do. And what happened next? We just stopped going to the doctors and we just at home. And oh, actually, I forgot to say something. Before we just stopped going to the doctors, we did another image exam. So here in Brazil is tomography. In English would be not tomography. It was like, yes, tomography exam. I don't know what you guys call it, but image exams such like magnetic resonance. I don't know. Probably you guys have this also with this name. I don't know, but the crazy part is there wasn't nothing there anymore. And here is the end part of the process. Because once we came to the doctors with that results, they were just like shocked. They were just like, it's not possible. What is this? There was a mass and now there isn't. What is this? So they was just shocked and they just didn't know what to say and would just stop going to the doctors. Just this was like November of 2013 to November, October probably. But the bruise, not the bruise, the wound was still there. So I was just taking medicine. My father helped me out with that, and because you have to clean it, the the wound every single day for some times of the day. My mama couldn't do it because the wound was so ugly and she was so shocked by the situation. But my father helped me a lot with that. So my mom was always praying so God could heal me. And then in January of 2014, I I was healed. There was just the bruise of the just the scar of the wound. So I remember 2014. I just take a look and it was just like that. So if you can see here, here is the scar of the miracle. So it is crazy. I would show you guys a picture so that you can look near. So people think that I got a shot when I was a child. I like to I like to make some jokes with that. Hey man, I just had a shotgun shot here, and people believed, man, because if you take a look, it seems like it is a shotgun, stuff like that. But I'm a miracle, so it is crazy for me to someone that says that don't believe in God. I respect it, but there wasn't a single moment to my life that I said God is not real. For me, this is just impossible. It's just like saying that rain is something fake. If you can see the rain, then people say, oh, but you don't see God. Yeah, but I saw my mom praying. And I saw what happened to me when I was 13. I saw the mass and the image, and later on, it just disappeared. So, what I wanted to tell you guys is this: nothing is impossible to those who believe. Nothing is impossible. Today, I can walk on the streets. I can run, I can play football. Just because God decided to heal me. Because my mom believed, she did believe on these words, that all things are possible to those who believe. I don't know what you're facing in your life. If you have cancer, a terminal level cancer, or another disease, or if you are looking for a job, because you're facing problems to pay the bills, to get through the table, stuff like that. I don't know what you're facing through. I don't know. But God does. And my invite for you is to ask Him to help you. Read Mark 9 and take a look on this history and just say to God, God, help me to get through these circumstances. Because the Bible says that all things are possible to those who believe. And this came out of the mouth of God itself, because Jesus is God. So please, God, help me to get through it. But at the end of the day, just later on, when God healed you, don't forget Him. Don't leave Him. Don't be ungrateful. Use as an example your circumstances to help others. So here I am. My idea with this video is that your faith can be increased through it. So my advice for you, it is, later on, when God blessed you, when God blessed you actually, when God healed you, when God changed your circumstances around, do the same to others. Use what you lived to help others to increase their faith in Christ. So, if this testimony was a blessing for you, don't forget to smash like button, subscribe our channel, give some comment on the section below, and to share this video with someone, because this can be really very, very helpful for someone that you You know, probably. So don't forget to check our website also, planetsc.org. There is an article on this topic right here, not healing itself, but when I talk about faith and I just show the history of this man, I create a parallel between Abraham and this man of Mark 9, and it will be a huge blessing for you. And I hope I can see you in the next video. God bless you all.